Welcome back to SAF1 Esports, the penultimate round of our season. And we are underway, hopefully, very shortly for you with our race. Although I think some people were a little bit premature for the custom grid. So let us hope at least that third time's a charm for our race tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you have loyal subscribers, of course, very grateful that you've been able to get us back on terms and back eyes on the product. This is SAF1 Esports. As I say, my name is Webbo, here to take you through our next race, which should start with our formation lap very shortly. I think we're going to have somewhat randomized tail of the field, but hopefully the correct championship contenders are at the front of the field. Remember, Madtrav out there with a one hand on the trophy situation. He just needs to finish this race in order to take the overall win for the season. Phantom needs him to DNF and for himself to get at least a second place, preferably with fastest lap bonuses as well, to try and maximise his chances in the finale. We have seen Madtrav DNF out of a race before, most notably there in Jeddah this season, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but two successive DNFs perhaps are. So Madtrav will take the pole position from Simps and Quentin. Phantom starts fourth from Aimi Alonso, Don Rabico, Zardi, JR Designs, Viking Hamrick, Tiago, Vino and Matti at the tail of the field. 13 drivers have loyally stayed with us to the bitter end of this stream attempt, and we will hopefully get ourselves underway very shortly for you. Big thank you to our boss Quentin for having rebuilt and suffered an awful lot of impatient driver comments, and also a massive thank you to our sponsors here at SAF1 Esports, who are DR Developments, Rabico Holdings and Quintessential Photo and Video Works, without whom we would not go racing, and we also apparently need Codemaster's blessing to go racing as well. So medium tyres, the order of the day for most of the drivers out there, maybe 50-50 split at least, if that's possible with 13 drivers, Webbo, and a bit of a mix of strategies. Emi, Zardi, JR, Royal Viking, Hamrick and Vino need to make progress on the first few laps out there, and the rest of the drivers, of course, wanting to maximise the first stint. Should be a simple one-stopper. Now we're down to a 14-lap race, and we will be awarding full points for the championship. We're in such a close-fought championship position. The best balance and compromise we're able to get for you tonight is 14 racing laps after so many delays. But as I said before, it will be Madtrav who takes the pole, who leads them away from the grid. Say hello if you're with us in the live chat. I need the company tonight. I've got no co-commentator, and it's been a long wait for the race to get going. As usual, tell us who you're here to support. Give us your predictions as quickly as possible. And if you see something during the race that I'm not talking about, I will try and keep an eye on the live chat for your help. Madtrav and Simps got disqualified on the final corner for some contact, so slightly colder tyres, I imagine, for those guys, but maybe the game will be generous to them tonight. Welcome. If you are just joining us, you're right on time for this 25% race around Abu Dhabi, the penultimate race of our season. We are almost under starters orders. I'm trying to get you a good camera angle. Here we go then. The lights are on. And it's lights out. And go, go, go with Madtrav on the outside, with Quentin following him behind, getting a good drag up the inside, the outside of Simps. Phantom tucking in into fourth place, playing it safe at this early stage, not wishing to push too hard, as looks like Simps has got a great run on Quentin coming through the corners. Quentin hugging the middle of the road Dom Rabico up behind Phantom as well, just taking it nice and steady through this first corner. The medium runners needing to get those tyres up to temperature. Looks like JR Zadi gaining, Emi losing out on this early sequence of first sector of the lap, and they will take the long drag down to turn 8, 9 and 10. Simps down the outside of Quintin. Nice slipstream manoeuvre. Anybody else fancy a move? Not quite. Further back, but Madtrav already half a second up the road, not quite getting away from the drivers as he'd hope, and as we have seen him do so many times before. Here comes Phantom to the inside of Quintin, but Quintin's car dodging around on track due to some connection irregularities, I think. He's not able to teleport the car left and right quite like that. It looks like Simps has gone onto AI as well, so we're really struggling here tonight with connection issues. Quintin will run right into Simps if he's not able to negotiate the car, the track and the connection problems. But Phantom didn't care. He just went straight on through the ghosted car. I have seen ghosted cars become solid mid overtake though, and it's a risky game. Madtrav, first lap complete, a 1:40.276, out there on his own, has managed to gain a 2.7 second gap in those 3 sectors of the racetrack, and we, as usual, go and do battle for the best of the rest. Madtrav out there on his own at this early stage, but hopefully we can keep it interesting for you. Phantom half a second off Quintin, needs a good finish, needs second or better, and a DNF for Madtrav, of course, as I mentioned before. JR then 6/10 behind on the soft tyres, moving up as usual in the race, so trying to make those soft tyres work as far as possible. I think Simps has quit out of the race, seems to be saying so anyway. Seems to be saying that he has deliberately quit the race without going to the pit lane first, so that will be investigated after the race, I'm sure. But let's talk about what is going on track, as now JR is close to within the DRS range. In fact, he's made it within the DRS range of Phantom ahead, although maybe picking up, he might pick up for himself a warning going off track, as he did. Lord Mahavir says somebody torpedo Madtrav, so I'm sure no one would do anything quite so dodgy. A yellow flag in sector 3, possibly just cars overtaking the AI car of Simps, so we have 12 human racers left. Simps is not in this one as Viking goes on past, and Hamrick likewise. We've got the 2 Alfa Romeos close together, and Quintin trying to hold Madtrav's gap and catch as much as he can here. But Madtrav absolutely went for it in that first lap, certainly after sector 1, as the cars were navigating Simps' retiring AI car. And as I mentioned before, that really affected the drivers and affected the battle at the front of the grid and all the way down the order. But here comes Phantom now with a good run on Quintin. No DRS at this point, but couldn't quite get the overlap, couldn't quite get more than halfway past to claim the corner. And there he goes, managing to hold off at this point. Phantom has got DRS and passes Quintin quite comfortably then down into turn 11, and he's got a few corners now to try and put enough of a gap to defend from a DRS move in retaliation. So it's Madtrav 2.7 seconds from Quintin, JR and Dom Rabico. Emi in 6th place has broken the DRS barrier to the car in front, but Vino similarly, and Zadi close up behind Vino now, with my Tiago, Matty, Simps, Viking and Hamrick making out the rest of your grid. Pit stops have been selected for Viking and Hamrick. Looks like in comes JR to shed those soft tyres, so early pit stops coming in for the drivers on soft tyres from the start, presumably feeling like the mediums will run in the rest of this race. Of course, just 10 complete racing laps left to run with this shortened 25% race. Phantom's car skipping around. He's been suffering with connection, as it would appear did Quentin earlier, so watching one car from the perspective of the other is likely to result in nausea after a few seconds. Well, Quentin is catching, but Phantom has gone a long way ahead here. Looks like Zardi and Vino trading places. Maybe Quentin will get a second go at it down the second DRS zone, but he loses out on traction. The old concertina effect, as the concertina opens up the gap on acceleration. Quentin can't quite get on terms with Phantom here. Matrav's gap fairly even. I think he's managing that gap more than losing time to the drivers behind at this point. JR will be hoping he has managed to enact an undercut by pitting as early as he did, and he's found a gap in front of his teammate AI, and the lead driver of the ones who have stopped at this point. So Emi now very close here to Dom Rabico. In fact, so close he lost some aero on the way out of the final corner. Quentin is 6/10 away from Phantom. Looking for the DRS, looking for the slipstream. Phantom is moving around and will need to be careful not to weave too often and too aggressively. No way through for him. What about for Emi Alonso down the inside? Fairly straightforward pass under the DRS conditions, as Zardi gets ahead of Vino. So it's Forza to the Alfa Romeos, but Dom Rabico coming back at Emi down the next straight. Is that going to be the same for the other Alfa Romeo? No, he's clearing away faster at this point than Vino's car, whose tyres will start to be fading off now. Oh, round goes Emi. Emi perhaps leaving it that lap too long, and a sneaky little reset to track as well was the order of the day. He won't thank me for finding that one. And in fact, a double reset to track. Emi blotting his copybook twice as he now tries to wrestle those tyre temperatures back under control, with a possibility of triggering a safety car if he slams into the wall at the final sector of the track. I fully expect him to come into the race, into the pits now, but it's always worth battling on, trying to rescue the best result possible. Speaking of which, Thiago and Phantom pushing for the Constructors' Championship against Mercedes. They have a good opportunity to outscore Matrav, although right now it's not looking particularly likely. So Phantom needs his teammate Thiago to move up the grid with him. Again, Matrav still just over 2 seconds away from Phantom and Quentin. Quentin unable to stay really with Phantom's top speed. Seems to be the big issue, so possibly giving up a little bit of top speed against possibly the less draggy Ferrari. Quentin running clean off the circuit there to try and straight line turn 10, and now Phantom starting to derate on the ERS. Has Matty got a run here on Thiago, as the second drivers of both Red Bull and Ferrari battle it out, as their teammates are doing further up the road. Dom Rabico somewhat on his own, as is Zardi, but really we've got a double battle here between Red Bull and Ferrari on the track, just slightly in front of the other. Phantom in the pits then. 6 laps on the mediums. He fancies splitting the race down the middle. So 6 complete laps done. 7 complete to run once he crosses the line. And away then. and out, so he'll be hoping to undercut and gain something from the soft tyre. Now the outlap on the soft tyre is of course very powerful for the drivers. Madtrav has decided to enter hammer time in that Mercedes now that he sees one of the cars behind him go for a pit stop. Matty has just dropped outside of the DRS zone against Thiago's Ferrari into the hairpin section, and soon to be the first DRS zone comes the Alpine of Vino chasing Zardi in the Alfa Romeo. This should be close enough to be competitive, if not on this braking zone to come, but the next one. Yeah, Zardi feeling like a dive bomb might be on its way, but Vino just holding off and being patient, which you like to see, but not too much. We do want to see a move go for it. Zardi looking very strong out of turn 9, and we'll wait to see if any of the other drivers who have yet to pit are persuaded towards the pits. Zardi, little snap there. Quentin comes in the pits, and we'll see where he comes out relative to Phantom, who he was battling with on the track. Don't see a move coming from Vino on Zardi just yet, but we'll ride with Phantom to see where Quentin comes out of the pits as Thiago pits on this end of the 8th lap here. Quentin has not exited his pit box yet. Apologies for the disruptive track here, following along with Phantom, but Quentin comes out of the pits and has lost a significant chunk of time against Phantom. They're both now on equal soft tyres, there or thereabouts, and Quentin with some work to do now as Phantom really gained from that undercut. Madtrav still hasn't pitted and wants some nice soft tyres. Understood. Okay, so Simps, unfortunately, his AI, his connection failed him, so he had a disco. I thought it was unlike Simps to quit out, but it just the verbal message he left, so the text message he left made it look a little bit like he had retired voluntarily, but no, he was discoed from the session, and after having already dropped back, thought it best not to rejoin in the seat. Not quite sure on the rules around that, whether Quentin would prefer people, but Emi has DNF'd on the exit of turn 10 actually, strangely enough, and that puts us in a safety car situation. Madtrav and Dom Rabico heading into the pits, and I imagine so will Matty and Simps AI, as JR driving on cooling softs gets it slightly wrong going through that turn 13 corner. So it's all happening. Here come the final pit stops then for our race. I imagine Simps will be coming in if the AI is written sensibly. So all on course then for the championship is Madtrav. He just needs a good finish in the race. Just a few points though is all he needs. Currently looking to win it in style. And hopefully if he does secure the championship tonight, he'll give us some entertainment in the finale. So with those pit stops underway, JR drops back for a second set of soft tyres now, and Royal Viking Hamrick in the pits behind him, waiting then for the field to catch up to the back of the safety car as Zardi can see it up ahead, and it will be Madtrav, Phantom, Quentin, your top three. No penalties on the board either yet. Excuse me. With 5 laps to go, whether we get 4 or 3 to finish of racing speed, I can't exactly say, because I have limited experience with the safety car logic in 25% races. Zardi, Matty, Thiago, Vino, Simps, JR, Viking and Hamrick, your drivers, I would say drivers left in the race, but actually Simps is not in the race either, so we're down to 11 11 runners. And remember, the bonus points for finishing the race usually keep our drivers here in SAF1 running to the very end, if possible. Note of thanks to our sponsors, Quintessential Photo and Video Works, Rabico Holdings and DR Developments. And a reminder, please, to subscribe and follow us on socials. Like the video if you're enjoying the race so far. I mean, frankly, like the video even if you're not. It really helps with the algorithm for the account. JR has gone in the pits, I don't know, third time now? Let's have a look. Third pit stop for JR, back onto another set of, no, 4 stops onto another set of soft tyres. Wants to be on the freshest tyres for the final sprint. Position change wise, Matty profiting a lot, up 7 places, and the real highlight of the race so far, Matty up to P6 with Tiago and Vino up 4 each. Simps's AI down 7. It'll be more than that by the time the race is run. And down 4 for JR currently, though I don't expect him to finish there if he's on the tyres, on the fresh tyres. Matty fresh softs, so he's maximised these pit stops under the safety car. Zardi and Zardi alone, I think, will be vulnerable. Everyone will muller Simp's AI into the first few corners, but yeah, just Zardi, who will be hoping the soft tyres on the rest of the cars run out, but I think with effectively 3 racing laps to run once they cross the line next time. There we go, safety car in this lap. A nice early notification from Bernd Mailander. Then I don't expect these soft tyres to run out too quickly. Despite the safety car, despite the offset strategies, the race at the front very much as it started. Madra, Phantom, Quentin, Dom Rabico, the ones battling for the big points tonight. But what will JR do? He had a great start. Will he have a great restart from 12th on the track? Net 11th, of course. And Madra has already started holding up the field before they've hit the hotel section. So might be going for quite an early green light. He gets to choose here, leader's advantage, and he has not chosen to go just yet. Working the wheel through Latifi, goes Phantom, waiting to see when Madtrav decides to press the loud pedal. When do we go? Will it be the apex of the final corner? If it is, he's left it very late with Phantom right up with him. Phantom wants to make this championship go right to the end, but he needs to rely on a mistake from Madtrav as they go green on lap 11 of 14. Dom Rabico chasing and hounding the back of Quentin, who didn't get a good restart really. Here comes Dom Rabico, forced to the outside entry, a little bit of a squeeze in the braking zone. I'm not sure Quentin saw exactly how far alongside him Rabico was. Phantom is 6/10 back, and we will wait for possibly just a final 2-lap DRS enablement. Phantom's got a good run here. I don't like riding with Phantom tonight because of the connection issues, but it's hard not to, as they almost collide depending on when the game considers the cars close together or not. We'll watch with Quentin, who's a little bit more stable, down into the next overtaking zone they come. Mercedes bottoming out in the braking zone, but holding off Phantom for now. Closing in on the business end of this race. Everyone will have grip to spare on the cars. There'll be full send, full push for the final part of the race, and of course they'll also be pushing for fastest lap out there. Currently fastest lap, hang on a second, fastest lap sits with Phantom, who should Madtrav have a DNF tonight. Phantom will profit from that at this stage. But Matrav takes that fastest lap away. Again, Mango joins us to say Matrav is incredible. He's metronomic. He is very, very good indeed, and we have been looking for drivers who can take the challenge to Matrav, because he is walking away with this championship again. Hasn't had it all his own way, but nearly all his own way. JR is still, he's gone back in the pits. I wonder if he picked up some damage, unfortunately, and pitted for the 5th time this race. JR in the pits, or is he just going round for fastest lap point? Difficult for me to say. I'm not in the cockpit, but that does look one of 2 possible options to explain why he's taken 5 pit stops tonight. What about Phantom though? Half a second back from Matrav. No DRS still on this 2nd lap after the restart, but hopefully on the penultimate lap we will get that notification. Quintin trying to hang on to this podium. We have 1 penalty on the board, and it's only for P9 with Hamrek. So we've got JR Designs. He is a long way back at the tail of the field, but we have the most opportunity to go for fastest lap, of course, and an extra point. So will Phantom have a go? He's just dropped outside of DRS, just as the DRS will be enabled shortly. But it's there it is, DRS enabled, but Matrav had just squeezed himself out of that DRS zone from Phantom behind, and it's Quintin and Dom Rabico looking the men most likely to be challenging one another. Dom Rabico within 7/10, needs a good 3 corners here prior to the hairpin to try and maximise his chances of passing. Vino's back in the pits as well. Phantom has got just underneath DRS zone, but that's too far away, I think, to try and make a move. We'll ride with Dom Rabico, who cannot get very close to Quintin at all. Phantom is now 3/4 of a second from Matrav. Make that just under 6/10, and he will try and get everything out of these next 2 laps. JR has retired from the session after picking up a 3-second penalty, presumably just pushing too hard, and he's in the pits. So unfortunately no finishing bonus points for JR tonight, although he does finish within a lap of the finish. He does retire within a lap of the finish, so maybe he'll get it. He'll be generously given a point. Not quite there, but Dom Rabico closing in. Oh, round goes the Alfa Romeo, and out goes Zardi. Looks like those medium tyres weren't going to profit him towards the end. We have a full yellow flag at the final sector, and it's Zardi who spectacularly crashed out, unfortunately. So that has caused an issue, and it looks like Simp's car is touring. No, quite work out. It looks like maybe it was JR's car going very slowly. Well, this is the final lap. This is it. There will be no safety car, virtual or otherwise, and it's Phantom, a 1.4 second gap from Matrav. I think the only person who can lose this for Matrav is Matrav himself. Simps has not changed tyre. The AI is that smart, folks, that smart. Here comes Dom Rabico for the final podium position. He's going to wait to leave himself 1 opportunity to take this podium on the final overtaking place on the track. He presses the DRS. Quintin's got it to Phantom in front though. Quintin is derating down the back straight. What does Dom Rabico go for? Quintin tempting him to the inside. There's no way through there, but he tries to get the undercut. Will they make contact? Not quite. And Quintin and Dom Rabico struggling along here, trying to finish this one out. I think Matrav's got it with 2.2 seconds of a lead. Matrav, not only will he take this this race win as he goes through Latifi corner, approaches the final 2 corners of the racetrack safely through one. Can he make it safely through the final corner? Yes, he can. It's Matrav who takes not only the win, he takes the fireworks and he takes the championship. Once again, Matrav wins. Phantom in second place took the championship down to the penultimate race, but nothing he could do about the pace of Matrav tonight. Quintin, the third place on the podium from just 2/10 back from Dom Rabico, followed by Thiago Matti. Hamrick gets 7th. Royal Viking 8th, and it's Vino who is yet to finish the race but will hopefully cross the line shortly. He's seesawing at the wheel, having a bit of fun out there. Unfortunately, Zadi, JR, Emi and Simps are all out. And yeah, Vino just doing a little demonstration at the end of the race. As I say, just having a little bit of fun. And he will cross the line to make it all over. I will do my best to try and have a quick chat with Matrav if possible, but I won't be able to give it a great deal of time. There he is, your winner, your race winner, multiple race winner this season and champion. Matrav takes the trophy for first place, takes the fireworks for the championship. Appropriate enough here in Abu Dhabi. Red ticker tape dropping for him. Phantom, a well fought but ultimately unsuccessful battle for the top of the championship. And Quintin, a very deserving podium for working as hard as he has done to keep this evening's racing going. Fastest lap and the win goes to Matrav. What will he do from a complete zero pressure situation next week? Will he go for a last to first challenge? We can only hope so. Phantom second, Quintin third, Dom Rabico in fourth place, then Thiago, Matti, Hamrick, Royal Viking and Vino. Your finishers, your 9 finishers of this race, then Zadi, JR, Emi and Simps, unfortunately not making it this time. Stick with me, I will try and get hold of Matrav if possible. I'll do my best for you. If we can maybe get Matrav in. Don't have much time for anybody else to come on in. Looks like we are going to get a chat with our winner tonight. Please just make sure that you have set your broadcast audio setting to share for me. But Matrav, congratulations, a win, a fastest lap, but most importantly, and I can definitely confirm this week, you are the champion.
Yeah, what's up, Weber? That was a terrible night, I won't lie. That was horrible. There was so much drama and chaos going on at the game.
It was tough to stay focused, but you did it in the end and did it in style.
Yeah, definitely didn't expect to do it in that way, to take pole, fastest lap and win. I was driving in the race, I think after about lap 5 or 6. I was driving really conservatively, as you might have seen on stream, how the guys were just starting to catch me. I ended up somehow getting 2 warnings on 1 lap. Don't ask how that happened, but it happened. And yeah, from there, everyone was just starting to catch me. I was getting nervous. And yeah, the last 2-3 laps, I had to push because everyone was pushing. And yeah, I managed to keep the gap. And yeah, here we are. Somehow champion again.
Champion again. You've been pretty much untouchable apart from your own DNF this season. How do you do it, Macho? How do you do it?
I couldn't tell you, to be brutally honest. Talent, I would guess. Like, I really don't. Like, this race, I don't think I should have won. I don't think I'd put in the most practice at all. But yeah, it's always been a good track for me, so that might have something to do with it. But yeah, I think it was just down to that safety car helped me as well. I think Phantom would have undercut me if it wasn't for that safety car. So that played a big part. Yeah.
So how were the tyres out there today? Any surprises with the shortened race?
Not really. Mediums, they felt good. There was a few moments I had with them. Obviously being, I hadn't practiced obviously for a 25% race, so I didn't know what they were like on that fuel load.
Yeah.
I knew on heavy fuel, you had to lift for sector 1 mainly, like for most of it. And obviously on low fuel, you didn't really have to lift depending on your setup. But going into this on like not heavy fuel but not low fuel, it's going in blind. It was touch and go. I had a few moments. But yeah, once I got into the softs, then I knew what it was like, so that was fun from there.
Awesome. You managed to secure fastest lap by 1600ths of a second, but you were saying that that's possibly because you picked up those 2 warnings and didn't want to get a third, so you couldn't push quite so hard?
Yeah, so I would say if I didn't have those 2 warnings, I could have improved, I would say, by maybe almost up to half a second. But yeah, both those laps, because I'd set fastest lap, and then the next lap I think I improved by like 5 thousandths or something.
Yeah.
So on that second lap, going for fastest lap, is where I picked up those 2 warnings. I got on the curb wrong, and it sent the rear the wrong way, and yeah. So I think it could have been by more, but yeah, congrats to Phantom as well. I know he wasn't. He was. He wasn't himself tonight, if I can put it that way. Monitor broke, so yeah. Congrats to him as well. He was a second off the pace, so it's pretty impressive. I don't think I would have won tonight if it wasn't for that.
Nice stuff. Well, very sporting of you. No one believes a word you're saying when you say it was difficult, or you didn't think you were going to win, or you didn't put in much practice. I'm afraid that's every single bingo card entry possible for a sporting champion. But congratulations, and Quentin says well done on your 4th championship. Hopefully that next season it won't be quite so straightforward for you. But what's on the menu next week? What are you going to have lined up for us in Spa?
I think we're going to try last the first challenge.
Nice.
Depending, I mean, it depends on the mood I'm in. There's a chance I might just want to try and win it to get as many wins as possible. But yeah,
going for the stats, you're going for the history books. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you're on a track you can overtake. I'm pretty sure you're going to win it anyway. But let's see what happens. Yeah, hopefully you'll give us some entertainment next week, nonetheless. But congratulations, well done, and get into that driver chat and take all the plaudits coming your way.
Yep, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, man. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Great to hear from our champion. Tune in next week for the finale of the season, where we decide all the remaining places and, of course, the Constructors' Championship. But for now, from me, from everyone at SAF1 Esports, we will catch you on the next race day.